Overclockers, my name's Bryony and I'm here with Ian Parry, or as you might know him, 8-Pack. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing the latest addition to the 8-Pack lineup of pre-built PCs. 8-Pack PCs are known for their high performance, their great aesthetics and wonderful reliability and overclockability as well. So Ian is going to be demonstrating the performance of the 8-Pack Comet. So Ian, the Comet name has been around for a few years, but you've updated it for 2022. What's different with this system?
Well, I think you actually stole my thunder there, Brian, basically by already telling the viewers what's different. I mean, obviously with all revisions of 8-Pack machines, we're always looking at to A, improve the performance, B, improve the cooling, and C, improve the aesthetic and or give a lot of different options so the customer can choose their own aesthetic or own specific mods. And that's what we've targeted here with this Comet MK2, if you like.
And for me, I know the Comet has always been that compact PC that's great for taking to LAN events. It's loads of performance, but in a small chassis. This one is a little bit bigger, so why have you opted to go for that route?
Well, essentially the Comet's always been a Micro-ATX motherboard configuration. What we've done here is, obviously we've now got the Metroid, which is the ITX small PC that's aimed at the LAN customer, if you like. This is more a MIDI-sized PC, which outperforms, you know, your general normal desktop MIDI-sized PCs, but has this crazy aesthetic, if you like. And the PC needs to be so big because of the added cooling that we've put in there, you know, to accommodate that. And obviously you need to extract the heat to gain the extra performance very often. And obviously with the cooling here, we've taken into account any hardware revisions that we might need to make over the next 12 months or 18 months time. So everything's taken care of.
So you've increased the footprint a little bit, got way more cooling in here, and that's suitable then for like the next generation of hardware, which we know is probably going to be coming soon.
Yeah, exactly that, yeah.
Perfect. So taking a look at it, should we start off by discussing more about the cooling? Because you've got some really nice water cooling components in here. I can see a lot of it is fully customized, because this case is actually similar to the Metroid in that it's actually built in-house at Overclockers UK, which I think is very exciting. So yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that.
So, okay, here, so on the cooling side here, we've got a fully dual loop system with 2 pumps. The pump on the left and this size of the 8, if you like, which is the reservoir, is taking care of the CPU. The pump on the right and this side of the 8, if you like, is the reservoir, is taking care of the GPU. Underneath, you've got 2 480mm thick radiators, which are around 60mm thick, with obviously high static pressure fans on both sides of the cooling loop. So basically with a dual loop situation, what you're making sure is that the more sensitive to temperature component, which is the CPU, is kept completely separate to the less sensitive GPU. Of course, the GPU temperatures are still great and well within tolerances, but one component is not affecting the other, as in they're not adding temperature to the loop. Yeah. So you've got the best of both worlds in that sense. Also on the cooling side, we've got the Aquara Fan Controller, if you like, which is USB and software controlled. So you can adjust the pumps, you can adjust the fans, speed, and everything can be tuned completely to the system itself. So it can be absolutely whisper quiet while there's no load. And if just the GPU's under load, you can run just the GPU loop with the fans at medium speed and then maybe slightly higher speed if everything's running. But it's all very much customizable for the cooling of each component. And obviously here also we've taken into account the different loop design with a custom pass-through plate here with the 8 aesthetic there obviously for the branding, but also, you know, it has very clear pathways for both fluids. And you can see that marked out nicely here with the different O-rings.
Yeah, this is one of the first times I think you guys have done an actual 8-Pack system in white, which is very exciting. Is this white acetal underneath here?
Yeah, the material is engineering class acetal, yeah, actually on the reservoir here at the back, and also on this pass-through plate. And obviously I really like how punchy the black O-ring is, looking against the white. And obviously this blue colour here really stands out, but you know, customers can choose their own.
There's something about white and blue, isn't there?
Yeah, it looks great.
Fantastic. Yeah. So moving on from the cooling, crazy cooling means that you can get really powerful hardware in this like smaller form factor. So what exactly are the hardware components in this build?
Well, we're using, on this one, obviously the idea of 8-pack always is flagship components, flagship speed for the actual role of the PC. So on here we've chosen the king of gaming currently, which is the 12900KS CPU. Which is under the EK water block here. Yeah. That's been hand binned here in-house to run at 5.2 on all the performance cores, very stable at low temperatures, with all the efficiency cores are clocked at around 4.1 gigahertz. So obviously with it being an all-core overclock, you're getting the benefit across every single workload, not just what you would get from the typical turbo boost or turbo velocity boost Intel algorithm, which only really benefits low core count situations where, you know, and now there isn't really a low core count situation because a lot of people are not just playing a game on a single core. They might have Discord running in the background, they might have some kind of caption software running. So this really means that you've got maximum performance all the time, no matter what you do. And we've partnered that with an ASUS Strix GZ690 motherboard. And then because the crazy capacity of cooling as we move forward, of course, even in this small form factor, if they did for example, a Threadripper or a Sapphire Rapids motherboard that's M-ATX, that could go in here because it's got a 480 radiator. Similar with the GPU, in this particular build here, we've got a 3090 GPU that's also been overclocked. I think we've added about 500 megahertz to the memory speed, and the core speed of the card's around 2100 megahertz, maybe 2125, something like that, under heavy load. But that could easily be a 3090 Ti, it could easily be a 3080 Ti, you know, whatever the customer chooses. And again, moving forward with the new AMD and NVIDIA cards coming out future, they will easily be accommodated with the 480 radiator.
Yeah, you've got plenty of space in here, and of course, all that crazy cooling underneath.
Yeah, exactly.
I love these big vents as well that really gets the airflow through.
Yeah, it's essentially focused, the aesthetic, although larger, is really, really focused on this amount of cooling, you know, and getting the performance. Because in the smaller form factor, we already have Meteoroid, you know, we no longer need to make Comet. That's the focus of the Comet, you know. The focus is now being the best midi-sized PC available on the market, and I believe that's what we've got here.
With loads of cooling for next gen.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So we know what hardware's in it, and we know that it's got crazy cooling to handle it. And sort of running in the background here, we've got a 3D Mark benchmark running. I can see the score is really, really good. So that's because you've got the overclocks going on the CPU and GPU. Yeah,
everything here in the demo unit that we CAD designed, and then we've simulated the temperatures and everything to make sure, obviously simulated the flow through the loop, all these kind of things to make sure it's going to work great before we build it. And then it's gone through multiple hours of testing, benchmarking, binning of components, etc., before we come to that. But yeah, we've got 10,234. That's on the 4K times by extreme benchmark built into here, 3D Mark, with all the standard settings. And we've got a really solid graphics score of over 10K and a CPU score of around 10K as well. Yeah, which is, I think that's pretty incredible, especially you don't know on camera, but it's very, very warm in this room, and this PC seems to be doing great in regards to cooling and performance. So even if you're in the middle of summer, it's got enough cooling to handle that hardware. Yeah, absolutely. You know, it doesn't really matter the ambient with this amount of cooling; it's still going to be working fine. And we've on this one, which we didn't have in the old Comet, I have to say, we've got more airflow through the case as well. On the old Comet, we didn't have 120 mil extract here, but we've added that so there's more front to back air push through the case. Yeah, there's absolutely loads of air holes, and there's even a big vent up the top here, so you can see the graphics card, which is very, very neat. I love the way that that's designed. So sort of moving on to the aesthetics then, I absolutely love this blue and white design. I think obviously white is very in fashion at the moment when it comes to PC components. So it's nice to see you guys trying something different here and bringing out this white and blue sort of demo system. So what other customization options are there for people looking to get one? I mean, to be honest, there's pretty much everything really, you know, from just colour changes of literally the entire case. Yeah. Even the pass-through plate and the reservoir, colour changes on the cables, colour changes of the fluid, colour changes of the fittings, literally everything within the case is completely customizable. Even materials, You know, you can have carbon fibre, you can have aluminium, and within that, obviously, you can have the aluminium anodized, or you can have brushed, or you can have. So literally, the customizations for the aesthetic of the system are endless, really. You know, it's up to the customer. They can even provide their own designs of logos or prints, anything that's not copyrighted.
Yeah, we've got printing now as well.
Yeah, we can print that on all the panels, and I believe we demonstrated that on some printing that we did on the Meteoroid as well, to show what we can do. So if they can dream it, we can essentially try to do it. You know, even printing on the VGA card blocks is possible, etching, literally anything, to be honest. And then in terms of changing the hardware of the system, as I've already said, you can go to 3090 Ti or 3080 Ti on the VGA, whichever one you choose, that'll be fully overclocked. Same with the memory, you can change the capacity. That again is up to the customer. And if it's a MATX board, then you know it can go in the system without a problem. So there's quite a lot of hardware configuration choices here. And then in terms of storage, you can add more M.2, higher capacity M.2. Obviously Gen 4 is ideal because the CPU has Gen 4 lanes, as does PCI Express. And then there's obviously room for SSDs in the back as well.
Yeah, it's incredible, like how much you can fit in such a small space. And even if you guys at home, if you're thinking maybe getting one of these, but you're not entirely sure like what colors you want, what specification you need for the workload you're doing, Ian has a whole team that is ready to help you guys like spec out the system and can customize it. Like you said, if you can dream it, we can try and build it at least.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, if it's hardware focused changes, then pretty much any customer can talk to me on this kind of stuff and get personal help on that. And then if it's aesthetic based stuff, then we can talk to the team on pretty much everything and get even you know the customer's own personal designs incorporated in there. I mean, even
if you're like a graphic designer, imagine having your own graphic.
Yeah,
so cool.
that would be no problem, and you could even you know customize the logo if you like within the reservoir there, or within the passive plate here. Literally anything we can do.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Thank you, Ian, for coming in and showing me the brand new Comet today. It is an incredible looking system, and like we said, you can pretty much have it however you want. The latest hardware, the high-end cooling, all the customization options, and I just absolutely love it. It sort of fits into the lineup as you've got the Meteoroid as the smaller compact build, and the Comet is like the next step up from that with even better performance and even more cooling. And I cannot wait to see what you guys are going to do next. So remember to give this video a big thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and leave us a comment below commenting on
PEX this time, PEX.
So yeah.